Welcome back to West Texas View.
It's been such a pleasure to have Mark Palmer here from the Abell Hanger Foundation to explain their role in the shared space concept. And I certainly want to give you more information about that, and we're going to be doing it in the weeks ahead. But this segment, Mark, I'd like for you to talk a little bit more about the role of Abell Hanger in making this happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, about 3 years ago, David Smith invited me to come over and be a part of the Abell Hanger family, and obviously I was very excited about being able to do that. But my role was really to help execute on a day-to-day basis. That we had this tremendous asset in the steering committee, and we're able to draw on the experience and the expertise of all of those people. And you know, I know that you have a background working in community for years, and you know how often it is the case that you have a profile of different people involved with an effort. You have some who give so much, and then you have others who sometimes may not do that.
Right.
We didn't have any slackers in this group. We had a tremendous group of people who really were willing to dive in and do what needed to be done. And so
and think out of the box
and be creative and call on all resources, and that's one of the great things about this process. So on a day-to-day basis, it was my job to continue to move this forward. So that's what I was able to do. I worked directly with Vandergriff Associates, Bill Parsons and Gary Vandergriff, and they were wonderful partners, really went above and beyond the call of duty to do this job well.
Because in the beginning you determined that you wanted to furnish the building.
That's right.
And furnish the technology for the building, so that there would be common kinds of machinery, so that one IT director could come in and work with all of them, websites, everything. And then, so it's all done so beautifully.
Well, thank you. You know, you walk onto our campus, and what you see first, and this week they're laying down the sod, and all of that will be complete, but we're a completely xeriscaped campus. We tried to think about every detail, and I think it'll be a really beautiful campus once all of that work is done, and hopefully that happens this week. But then you walk through the front doors, and you see that we have unique lighting, and all of the lighting
and everything is state of the art.
It really is, and it's very energy efficient product. So we're really mindful of being a green place. We have shared spaces. Obviously, that's our name. We have a common boardroom, both downstairs and upstairs, for all of our tenants that has all of the latest audiovisual presentation materials for them to use in their board meetings. We have a smaller committee room on both floors. We have a break room on both floors. We have
your mail room.
A mail room. We have some great meeting space that anybody in this area is welcome to use. That's exactly right. Our large training room downstairs, the community room, will seat about 140 lecture style. Upstairs we have a training room, and that will seat depending on the configuration, anywhere from about 50 to 80 people.
And other people in the community can rent this space.
They can, and they are.
But there's space. Tenants have first priority.
Tenants have first priority. That's one of the benefits of being a tenant. And then beyond that, nonprofits have priority, and it is a very discounted rate. Our executive director did a lot of research into what it was costing nonprofits, because space is at a premium right now, meeting space in West Texas. And so she went out to see what people were charging, and we are far below market in terms of that rate.
Plus it have all the amenities.
Right, and it helps us to be sustainable as well.
That's right. Well, so then after you helped make the decision, help guide the other consultants that were in to help put it together, then what your role was to help choose a board that will then run it, and Abell Hanger will step back. Am I saying that correctly?
Right. Actually, this was all done very collaboratively, in keeping with our theme of building collaboration in the community. That steering committee said, what does our board need to look like? What skills need to be represented on our board? And many of those people then folded into that first large board. We had a small board to begin with, just to meet IRS expectations, and then we began expanding the
charter
board.
And all that.
That's right.
And then, am I correct that you were the first board president, but now that term is over, and you're finishing out your term as on the board, and then you will pretty much step back and get involved in another project?
That's correct. I'm immediate past president this year, and I'll spend one more year as a board member next year. But the idea is to send this fledgling nonprofit out in a very healthy way, and we're convinced that we've done that with great staff and a great board.
And you and the other funders, at this very infant age of this, what are you thinking now, that this was a really, really good idea?
Well, I'm prejudiced, obviously. I think it was a great idea, and we're 99% occupied, so clearly we did fill a need, and we're getting great feedback already. We had our grand opening in January, and I think our donors are all very pleased with the outcome. Like any effort, we've had some bumps along the way, but things are going well. Yeah.
But one of the things that I've known about in other communities that had this idea was that one of the reasons for it is because many times a person who needs one agency needs another. And so if they have to run all over town, and particularly if they don't have a car, or they have several children, and it's just not feasible for them to run all over town, accessing these very helping agencies that they need so badly, and so they can come to one place and possibly see more than one of the groups that they need to at this point. So we've just got about 30 more seconds. What would you like to say else, besides come and see this beautiful facility?
Do come and see this beautiful place. But I think it's important to recognize the fact that about 60 years ago, a couple said, Mr. and Mrs. Abell, we want to create a philanthropy. And 60 years later, they are still blessing this community with all of the good things that have come out through the work of the Abell Hanger Board and staff. And I'm still a new guy at the office, and so proud to be a part of it.
I don't think there's a person in West Texas that doesn't appreciate Abell Hanger. We'll be back next Sunday with another program and talk about more of the shared space concept. Excellent.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.